Welcome to W.E.Kiwi, and here's our new story. W.E.Kiwi relaxing with a three-toed hoofbaloof. Waves lapped against the feet of W.E.Kiwi as he walked along the beach. Adjusting his wide-brimmed sun hat, he made sure his beak wasn't getting sunburned. Although he had already put sunscreen on, he had to be careful, as a kiwi bird's beak didn't like direct sunlight. He watched yachts sail in the distance and children making sandcastles. At the end of the beach was a ginormous pohutakawa tree sprawling down the side of a cliff. Its red flowers blossomed for bees to hunt for nectar. Looking over, W.E. saw a nice spot of shade to sit in for the rest of the afternoon. As he approached the pohutakawa tree, seagulls flew out. They gave W.E. quite a surprise. Waiting for his heartbeat to get back to normal, he sat in the sand. Taking out his notepad, he wrote a thought for the day. Under a pohutakawa tree is a great place to be. Relaxing in the sand next to the sea. Sandcastles built by children playing. On the beach for the rest of the day staying. W.E. sat back, knowing it was a perfect time to take a nap. He had a dinner party that night, so best he recharged his batteries. Most dinner parties ended till the moon was high in the night sky, so best he gets prepared. He wiggled his bum into the sand. His wings lay by his side, and he drifted off to sleep. He dreamt he was lying in the forest on a bed of soft green moss. His wings could feel the morning's dew. Fog crept between the trees around him. Wind blew gently as the sun started to peer through. He could see the sun's round outline getting more and more intense. The sun wasn't yellow or orange like he was used to, but bright red. As the fog lifted more, he noticed the trees started to shrink. W.E. stood up and saw the trees only reaching up to his belly. The trees had yellow trunks with purple and orange leaves. Reminding W.E.'s of trees in the autumn, he wondered if the seasons were changing too in this strange new world. The rising fog formed clouds in the sky floating around the sun. W looked down, and in front of his feet were white pebbles marking a path. He peered further and saw it was leading him to what appeared to be a castle in the distance. As he moved forward, the trees parted, leading him onwards. As he passed, the trees went back to their upright positions. With small strides, worrying that the trees might not part fast enough, W.E. found himself at the front gate of the castle. Bricks of grey and black rose 3 stories high. Between the bricks, a steel gate stood. 2 turrets with copper-coloured roofs stood at the front of the castle. On the top of each turret, flags blew in the wind. As W.E. tried to see what was on the flags, a trumpet sounded. W.E. jumped back, hoping he wasn't in trouble. The steel gates opened, with a chubby green parrot fluttering out. The parrot squawked, "Quickly, quickly! His Highness Bertitude the Great is awaiting your presence." W.E. was always on time, and never late, so hurried into the castle. As he went in, he was curious why someone would be waiting for him if they hadn't even met. The parrot flew up a winding set of stairs, and W.E. followed. "Come on, come on!" the parrot beckoned. The stairs were many and steep. Following upward, W.E. saw rugs and paintings adorning the walls. The paintings were of trees and animals, but none of which W.E. recognized. Everything was painted with wonderful fluorescent colors. When W.E. got to the top of the stairs, he gathered his breath. In front of him stood 2 wooden doors. Golden handles and a bell decorated the center. The parrot rang the bell on the door. From behind the door he heard a voice demand, "Enter!" W.E. shook his wings nervously as the voice sounded quite intimidating. Shuffling forward, he pulled open the door handles. As the doors opened, the smell of pine cones and lavender filled his beak. The room was splendid, with golden windows and large velvet cushions thrown on the floor. The ceiling was high, enhanced with a crystal chandelier so big W.E. couldn't stop staring at it as he paced forward. At the back of the room was a green glass throne placed on top of a concrete stand. On the throne sat a round creature. Dressed in a purple gown, the creature beckoned for W.E. to come closer. As W.E. approached, the creature smiled and nodded. His feet were wide with 3 plump toes. His eyes, round and blue, took up most of his face. His mouth was small, but grew as he smiled. Golden teeth sparkled from his lips. A thin nose with 2 nostrils sat above his lips, but slightly bent, like he'd run into a door. His arms were short, but only had 2 fingers on each hand. Around one finger was a golden ring containing a ruby the size of an apple. On top of his head sat a silver crown. He looked at W.E. and then huffed, blowing out his chest.
Well, there you are. I've been expecting you, so don't be nervous. The crown is only a gift. I'm not a king, and the throne I made on a Sunday with my brother. He had many broken windows, so we recycled them. Let's go for a slide, shall we?
As he got down from his throne, W.E. was not sure where to go. His new friend was only slightly taller than W.E. Sure, that sounds like fun. But shall I call you His Highness Bertitude the Great, or just Bertitude the Great? Bertitude laughed out loud and put his arm around W.E.
So what's your name, little bird?
Bertitude asked. W.E. held out his wing. I'm W.E.Kiwi, but my friends just call me W.E. Bertitude shook his wing.
Well, W.E., my good friend Darrett the Parrot called me Bertitude the Great, as we've been great friends for many years. I'm no different to you, W.E. I just have a big house for parties with my friends. Now let's slide on down.
At the back of the room was a hole in the floor. Bertitude bent down.
Shall I go first, or you, W.E.?
Nervously, W.E. looked down the hole. He could see a silver slide flowing downwards, but there wasn't an end. But where does it go, Bertitude? W.E. asked.
To the streams under the castle, then to the lake of loveliness. Follow me.
Bertitude jumped down the slide. W.E. followed, holding his wings across his chest. Down they went, with glowworms lighting the way. The slide gradually came to a level ending, making them stop. Bertitude helped W.E. off the slide. Shaking all his feathers back into place, W.E. stretched his wings. They were in a grotto under the castle. Candles on the wall lit the rocks. A stream of deep blue water flowed through the grotto into the darkness. On the wall hung a canoe, which Bertitude took down. The canoe was made from one large piece of deep red-coloured wood. Placing it in the stream, Bertitude jumped in. Holding the canoe with one arm and the other on the rocks, he called to W.E.
Jump in, W.E. Let's go.
Bertitude let go from the rocks, and the canoe meandered down the stream out from the grotto. There aren't any paddles, Bertitude, and it's getting very dark, W.E. queried.
Don't worry, the stream will take us to the lake. Trust me, W.E., we have a wonderful afternoon planned.
As the canoe went along, W.E. felt Bertitude's hands on his shoulders. He held on tight. They would lean to one side, and the canoe would turn. Leaning it back, it would go straight. Up ahead, a small opening appeared, with bright sunlight piercing through.
Here comes the fun part, W.E., Bertitude giggled. We must navigate through the opening. It's only big enough for the canoe, nothing else. Lean to the left slightly.
They both leant to the left, and through the opening they went in the first try. W.E. squinted in the bright sunlight. As his eyes adjusted, he could see the castle behind him. In front of him was a lake with bright blue water and fish jumping. On the lake, large purple lily pads dotted the surface. The river flowed to a small waterfall, which the canoe was led to. Approaching, W.E. saw the waterfall was from an underground stream. This was quite peculiar. Bertuccio put his hand on W.E.'s right shoulder, and they leant to the side. The canoe came ashore next to the waterfall. Bertuccio helped W.E. out of the canoe. They both lifted the canoe onto the grass. Fish jumped out of the water, waving at Bertuccio. W.E. couldn't help but notice they were all pink, with eyeglasses on.
"Good day, my fine fishy friends," Bertuccio called out.
Bertuccio, all the fish have eyeglasses on. Why is that? W.E. questioned. Bertuccio frowned and thought for a moment.
"Well, W.E., how else could they read the newspaper every day? They all need eyeglasses to correct their eyesight."
W.E. was surprised with the answer, but it seemed logical if anyone needed to read the newspaper with poor eyesight. W.E. turned as Bertuccio started circling on the grass. He paced, circling twice to the left, then twice to the right, before sitting down.
"Come join me on the grass, W.E. It's best you flatten the grass before you sit."
W.E. also paced in circles, then sat down. As they did, Parrot the parrot sat in a tree. Parrot squawked out, "Don't forget, Bertuccio the Great, the 3 thankful sayings, and run across the lily pads."
"I shan't, Parrot, but I have a guest to entertain," Bertuccio replied.
"Don't let me get in the way of a daily routine, Bertuccio," W.E. said. Bertuccio shuffled over to W.E., pointing at the lake.
"You see, W.E., I have a fitness routine every day. I must run over the lily pads 3 times around the lake back to the castle. If you slow down and stay on a lily pad, then it will sink. So it keeps you on your toes. Back at the castle, I must say my 3 thankful sayings. Do you want to join me, W.E.?"
W.E. flapped his wings to the side and twisted his toes. W.E. worried, "Sure, Bertuccio, but I'm concerned, as kiwi birds aren't very good at swimming, so what if I sink into the water?"
"We have friends in the lake to help us swim, but it's always good to know your limits. Let's go, W.E."
Bertuccio took W.E. by the wing to the lake's edge, and off they went running around the lake, jumping from lily pad to lily pad. By the first lap, W.E. was feeling tired, but kept going. Bertuccio bounded along in front, with his arms out to the side. He nearly lost his crown, but caught it in one arm and kept going. As W.E. went past the castle, he felt exhausted and stopped in the lily pad to catch his breath. His feet started to sink. He tried to jump off, but went into the lake. He paddled with his beak held high and didn't panic. From under his belly, he felt the fins of the fish lift him up. To the side of the lake they took him. One even lifted up her eyeglasses and winked. Bertuccio came rushing along the lily pads and jumped onto the grass.
"Are you okay, W.E.? Sorry, I might have overdone it slightly."
"I'm fine now. The fish were amazing like you said, Bertuccio."
"Yes, they are. We all work as a team here. Come back to the castle and dry yourself off."
Bertuccio and W.E. walked to the front of the castle and back up the winding stairs to the throne room. W.E.'s legs throbbed with all the exercise. He fell into the pile of the velvet cushions, which were plump and soft. Placing cushions next to W.E., Bertuccio also sat down. Sun shone through the glass windows, warming the room. Parrot the parrot flew in through an open window and joined them. Laying on his back in the sun, Parrot mumbled to himself. W.E. wasn't able to hear what he was saying, but Bertuccio could.
"Yes, that's right. As a 3-toed hoofbaloof, I must be thankful and praise the hoofbaloof before me."
W.E. sat up and leant over. "So, Bertuccio, without appearing rude, what is a hoofbaloof? I've never met one before. There are many wonderful creatures in my dreams, but what makes a hoofbaloof different?"
"Thank you for asking, W.E., and there is nothing rude about an inquisitive mind. The castle was built many centuries ago by the grand 3-toed hoofbaloofs, not as a sign of wealth, but this is a place of great festivities for all. It is open to everybody, including Kiwi birds. Hoofbaloof believe we shall be grateful for what we have and what we can share with others. However, the most important lesson Hoofbaloof can teach others is to have fun with your friends. They can be short or tall, rich or poor, it doesn't matter. Run around the lily pads together, sit in the grass. Joy can be for everybody. I have 3 toes, 2 fingers. Why would I need any more? Now today, my 3 grateful sayings shall be: thank you for the sun on my head. Thank you for the fish who rescued my friend. And thank you for a bird called W.E. coming into my castle.
That's wonderful, Bertitude. Thank you for being my friend. Darrett the parrot flew on top of the chandelier. Canoe! Canoe! We must take the canoe before the sun goes down. Bertitude got to his feet and looked over to W.E.
I must go and take the canoe back to the grotto, in case another friend comes to the castle. You relax here. I shan't be long.
Darrett flew down the hole in the floor. Bertitude followed on the slide, his giggling slowly fading away. W.E. lay in the cushions, his head resting against one wing. The sunlight moved across the room till it hit his feet. W.E. drifted off to sleep in the comfort of the cushions. With his feet warm and his head resting, W.E. breathed in and out. Water tickled the end of his toes, then his feet, and started up to his legs. He giggled till it reached his bum. He sat upright and saw the tiger come in under the pohutakawa tree, coming up to his belly. Standing up, he wiggled his bum to get rid of the sand. He moved back to the safety of the sandy shores. W.E. was thankful for the shade of the tree, the warm sun, and for waking up in time so he didn't get completely soaked. That night, the dinner party was splendid. W.E. took his favourite egg salad and crispy potato wedges, which were all eagerly devoured. The music was non-stop, with W.E. dancing the night away. He danced around the room, shaking his tail feather and working up a sweat. After the party ended, W.E. walked home with his friend Cameron the warphook bird. They chatted as they walked through the park. The moon's reflection shone off the lake. The ripples of the lake glided effortlessly to the sides. A fish leapt out of the water. It wasn't pink or had eyeglasses on, but W.E. still waved. Cameron noticed W.E. waving at the fish, so joined in. Both thought they may have just made a new friend. W.E. giggled at them waving at the fish and leant over to Cameron. Well, Cameron, we've had great fun tonight. How about a new thought to end the day? Cameron smiled. Okay, W.E. What words of wisdom do you have for me? W.E. paused and mumbled. Then it came to him. Here we go, Cameron. Are you ready? It's great to have a night to sing and dance. Maybe a new friend you meet by chance. Like a three-toed hoofbaloof may always say, it's all about friendship at the end of the day. Cameron smiled. Thank you, W.E. But what is a hoofbaloof? As they walked on, W.E. just smiled. I shall tell you another night, Cameron. Let's get home. The end. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and follow on for more stories with W.E.Kiwi. Oh, a hoofbaloof, John. Maybe I need to have a friend of a hoofbaloof. Yes, Quark. Hoofbaloof could be a good friend. Look, I've got to get to the supermarket to get some dinner. So you close up, okay? Yes, I'm preparing for more stories. It's a lot of hard work. But I think I'm getting better. Bye, Quark. Thanks. Bye. Now, I will do this properly this time. I will turn off this. Then this. Oh, and this. I think that's it. Oh no, here we go. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.